So I'm starting to think that Denzel Washington is becoming maybe the greatest actor-director of all time. I think it's happening. It's happening. What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's Mr. Henderson himself, and today I'm going to be talking about Fences, directed by Denzel Washington and written by the iconic playwright Mr. August Wilson. And let's go. Fences is a story about Troy Maxson, about how he's raising his family in the 1950s. He's got a wife, he has a son, he has an older son, he has his best friend, he has a brother, and the story is about him just trying to provide and go through the day-to-days and the struggles that he's dealt with in his life. Former baseball player who never got a shot at the big leagues because he's African American. And it's a story about him as an older man, a garbage man, and he has a young son who's trying to play sports as well, get a scholarship, go to school, make something out of himself, and his father is standing in his way. And that just kind of springboards the story into orbit, gives birth to some powerful performances, powerful dialogue. I've seen this show many times, and I never thought it could be on screen. It's a lot of talking, it's a lot of dialogue. You definitely have to get the right people involved for it to work, and they did that here easily with Denzel and his direction, him and Viola Davis's acting, and it was just great. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's just so much meat here for audiences to just take from and be inspired by. And it was so interesting that this movie came out Christmas Day, the most family time of the year, and then you have a powerful, dramatic, emotional film like this that comes out, because the story you think is going one way in regards to Troy and his son, but then it takes a whole nother turn to where you kind of don't see coming, unless of course you know the story like I do. But still in all, it just was a great film, the way it was shot, the setting, the tone, and Denzel just does his thing here as a director and of course as an actor as well. The way he commands presence on screen, we all know this, he's one of the best. This is nothing new, but just how he attacked this character, he clearly knows this character, he's played him on Broadway. And of course, Miss Viola Davis. Miss Viola Davis is just the queen of this industry right now. Her performance in this movie is just soul moving. The way she performs, how things happen and transpire and how it affects her, and the way she delivers that, and the way she just, without even saying anything, just how she looks in a particular scene. She doesn't have to say anything, just the look on her face or the way she holds her face or her facial features. It just tells it all on everything you need to know on how great of an actress this woman is. And I love her so much. I'm a huge fan, and it was just a treat to see her perform on screen. She's definitely deserves an Oscar nomination. Her performance is spectacular, as well as Denzel. Also, the hidden gem in this movie is Mr. Michael T. Williamson. His character, he plays Denzel Washington's character Troy. He plays his brother, and I don't want to give up the story because if you see it, I don't want to ruin it for you. But the moment he comes on screen, you're just like, oh wow, he's really given a great performance. And for him to shine through when you have Denzel Washington and Viola Davis there, it says a lot to his talent as an actor as well. We know him from in Forrest Gump as Bubba Gump. That's what most people may know him for, and he's just been around doing great work. He's a great character actor, and he does a great job in this movie. I just want to take a moment and give him some praise as well, because his performance caught me off guard. I didn't even know he was in the movie until he came on screen, and he plays sort of like a very small level, I guess, comedic relief, but not so much, but a very small level of a comedic relief with the character that he is and what he does and what his story is. And it was so great. Kudos to Mr. Michael T. Williamson. Now, this movie isn't perfect. it has its flaws. There are certain things that I saw that I didn't particularly like. I definitely thought certain choices towards the end of the film were, led it kind of down a cheesy route, but it didn't ruin the entire movie for me. It was just like, towards the end, if something happens, you're just like, that's a little cheesy. That's a little Lifetime-ish, just a little bit. And also the young gentleman who plays Viola Davis and Denzel Washington's son, Corey. I thought his performance could have been a little bit better with what his story is and what he's going through. He's constantly battling with his father to let him play sports, and his father won't let him because of what happened to him in the past. And I just really was kind of wanting more from this young man. His performance just didn't really, bring it home for me. I didn't really feel much from his character. He does an okay job, but for what you're given and what the circumstances are with his character in this movie, I just kind of expect a little bit more from him. Now, getting back to Miss Viola Davis a little bit, as I mentioned, her performance in this movie is just fantastic. But there's just one thing that I, had a problem with. There's a certain part where she's getting very emotional and delivering some dialogue, and there's something going on with her face. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to ruin it, but it was kind of distracting. I get it. It's the most truest moment. You have to stay true to what's happening, and but somebody probably should have yelled cut and kind of fixed that situation that was going on with her, because it was very, very distracting. I was trying my hardest not to focus on it and just stay in the moment of her performance, but that part kind of took me out a little bit. And you may see it when you watch it, you may not, but still in all, she did a fantastic job, not taking away anything for what Miss Viola Davis did in this film. So guys, that was my thoughts on Fences. Let me know what you think below. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, just leave a comment below. And as I always say, stay tuned because there's always a lot more coming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.